Alright, I'm searching for some serenity, and not the Firefly kind of serenity. Serenity, directed by Stephen Knight, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jason Clarke, Dimaggio Hinoso, and Diane Lane. This movie stars Matthew McConaughey as Baker Dill. He is a fisherman living on Plymouth Island off the coast of Massachusetts in the Atlantic Ocean. He's been living there for quite some time. He gets a visit from his ex-wife, Karen, played by Anne Hathaway. She looks like a femme fatale from a film noir in this movie. She's asking Baker to kill the man that she's presently married to, Frank, played by Jason Clarke. Apparently Frank has been very abusive to her and to the son that she and Baker had when they were together. She's desperate to get rid of Frank, and she wants Baker to take Frank on a fishing trip and kill him on the fishing trip and dump him in the ocean, feed him to the sharks is her exact words. If Baker does this, she will pay him $10 million. Throughout the movie, Baker is contemplating whether or not he should do this, whether or not it's the right thing to do, even though the main reason why he would want to do this is because he wants to help his son more so than help his ex-wife. And one of the strange things about this whole situation that he's getting into is that everybody on the island seems to know that he's going to do it. The woman that he's presently having sex with, played by Diane Lane, Constance, seems to know. Dimaggio Hinoso's character, who is his first mate and his best friend, seems to know. And then there's this guy who's trying to sell him some fishing tackle that wears glasses that seems to know as well, and that he buys fishing bait from seems to know. And that's pretty much our movie. So there seems to be some mystery to this proposal that his ex-wife is giving him. Now, this movie did intrigue me, and this was supposed to come out in late December, but it was pushed back to January. I think they wanted to do some reshoots or something, and many people were thinking that this film might be bad because it's being pushed back to January, and January is the infamous dumping ground month, one of the infamous dumping ground months, the other one is being February. But I was still curious about this movie because I like Matthew McConaughey, I like Anne Hathaway, and the plot did seem to intrigue me a bit. I have to say, yes, this is a bad movie, mostly because of the twist at the end of the film. Almost like something out of an M. Night Shyamalan movie. And again, I don't think even M. Night Shyamalan would come up with a twist like this. Something like Book of Henry or something. Now, the acting in this movie I thought was pretty good. I did like Matthew McConaughey in the film very much. I liked Anne Hathaway. I thought Diane was really good in the film. And Dimaggio Hinoso was very good as well. And I did like Jason Clarke as the ex-husband. I thought he made a pretty good antagonist in the film. The story did seem to work pretty well until the twist comes up. And the twist comes up pretty much within the middle of the movie and keeps on working right on to the end. And that's where the movie began to fall apart, is with the twist. The twist really makes the movie pretty bad. When I was working the twist within my head, it did seem to make sense, but it also felt like it didn't even need to be there. It felt like you could have done this without the twist, really, and made it a much better movie. So overall, this is not a good film, and I can see why this was pushed to January. This is certainly a dumping ground film. I don't hate this film, but it is a bad movie. So I have to give this movie a D. Don't see this movie. And that's all I gotta say for Serenity. So we have a movie with Hit Girl and Maika Monroe, the woman from The Guest and It Follows, teamed up together. Shut up and take my money. Oh, I just stepped in lazy writing. Greta, directed by Neil Jordan, the man that directed The Crying Game, starring Chloe Grace Moretz as Frances McCullen and Maika Monroe as Erica Penn. In this movie, Chloe Grace Moretz is Frances, and she's just moved to New York. She's living in this apartment with her roommate Erica Penn, who went to high school with her, and Frances has been mourning the loss of her mother. Frances takes the subway every time she leaves her workplace, which is this restaurant she's a waitress at, very high-class restaurant. And one day when she's taking the subway, she sees this purse on the subway that somebody left behind. She decides to take the purse and look inside to see who it belongs to try to be nice and find the owner. Finds out that the owner is an old woman named Greta, played by Isabelle Huppert. This is our title character. She decides to take the purse to Greta's home, even though Erica, her friend and roommate, is telling her, you don't know who this person is, you don't know where this bag's come from, this could be something dangerous or something. But Frances decides to take the bag to Greta and become her friend. They develop a friendship and everything seems fine. I mean, this is just a sweet old woman. What could possibly go wrong, right? Frances even buys a dog for the old woman. But things go from sweet to creepy pretty quickly within the movie. We find out that Isabelle has been running this scam and is a psycho that wants to kidnap young women that find her bag, because Frances finds out that Greta has a whole bunch of these purses in her cabinet, and that's when she realizes that Greta is crazy and that she, meaning Frances, shouldn't be hanging around with her, and that's pretty much our movie. Now, the main reason I wanted to see this movie is because Chloe Grace Moretz is in it. I had no idea at all that Maika Monroe, who's another one of my favorite young actresses, is also in this. And that's like icing on a great cake here, to have both Maika Monroe and Chloe Grace Moretz in the same movie. Oh, wow, that's a great team up there. And Isabelle Huppert, I hear, is a very good actress. My brother likes her a lot, so that's a cool cast right there. I mean, these three actors are great, and directed by the guy that directed The Crying Game. That's pretty cool. But this movie has a lot of problems with it. It has some pretty bad writing, and it's very, very formulaic. It's very cliched in a way that is made to push the plot forward in a certain direction. And our two main protagonists are making so many stupid mistakes. You wonder, why are they making so many mistakes? I did enjoy the movie, but when you engage some critical thinking with this film, you realize if you were in this situation, you wouldn't be making the same mistakes that these people are making, and you would realize that this old woman is trouble much quicker than anyone else would. And I'm going to go into some spoilers here, because this movie's not very good, but I did enjoy it. Now, I think Chloe Grace Moretz and Maika Monroe do a very good job. Maika Monroe's character is very much the voice of the audience, warning Francis to not get involved with this woman, Greta. But at the same time, Erica, Maika Monroe's character, is also making some stupid mistakes. I mean, once Francis realizes that Greta is crazy, Erica decides to go to some club, and she wanted to invite Francis along, but Francis didn't want to come and decides to stay at home alone. Well, that's smart after you just figured out that Greta's gone crazy and couldn't go after you. Well, that's not a problem. And one of the things that Greta starts doing is she starts stalking Francis and Erica. There's one scene where she's stalking Erica. Erica does something really stupid when she's called by Francis that Greta's stalking her. Erica decides to go out of the club that she's in through the back door. Really? You're going to go out through the back door down an alley? Oh my. How dumb is that? You know somebody is following you, stalking you, but you're going down an alley. Oh yeah, that's not gonna to encourage the stalker to come after you much quicker, right? You're not playing into the stalker's game, right? Of course you are. It just gets worse and worse and worse. So you would think these characters would be a little bit more smarter, but in a thriller like this, the characters have to be dumber in order to move the plot along. I mean, characters making stupid mistakes in a scary movie, or in this case a thriller, is a common cliche. Which is a cliche I don't like when the two protagonists are Maika Monroe and Chloe Grace Moretz, because these two have played smarter characters in other movies. What the heck? But even the cops are dumb in this movie. When Francis goes to the police to tell them that arrest Greta for stalking Francis and Erica, the police say they can't do anything. Like they can't do anything about Greta standing outside the restaurant because she's standing on a public sidewalk, or they can't get a restraining order because of all the red tape that they have to go through in order to get a restraining order. Which there must be some way to get through the red tape much quicker. Come on. And when they do eventually arrest Greta, somehow she actually gets away pretty quickly from the police. And she's taken away in a stretcher, for Pete's sakes, and yet she still gets away from the police eventually. What? That made no sense to me when that happened. But the plot says that she has to get away, so alright, she gets away. Who wrote this film? I know, there's some crazy monkey behind a typewriter. But one of the things I definitely do like is Isabelle Huppert's performance as Greta. I really did like her in the movie. I like how she pretends to be a sweet old woman at one point and then goes creepy and crazy in the next moment. She does that very well. I did like Chloe Grace Moretz in the film, and I did like Maika Monroe in the movie as well. The guy that plays Francis' father in the film does show up in the movie too, and he's pretty good when you get to see him. But overall, the movie is not very good. It's pretty much just a rental. And even though I was a little bit on the edge of my seat with what was happening, it's not as good as I hoped it was going to be. So I'm going to give this movie a C+. And that's all I got to say about Greta. It's a little bit of a disappointment, but not a terrible movie. And that's all I got to say for this film. Okay, let's review Marvel's first female-led superhero movie, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. These two are directors from A24. They directed a small film called Mississippi Grind, which starred Ben Mendelsohn and Ryan Reynolds a gambling movie, which I saw on Netflix. I thought that was a pretty good movie. So they are directing the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that has a female lead, Brie Larson playing Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, and she's also called Beers in this movie. That's her pre-name. She is a human that has the ability to shoot photon beams from her hand, and she can fly. She has superhuman strength, I believe, and she has Kree blood running through her veins in order to help her control these powers. So she's like a human Kree hybrid in a way. She's been living on the Kree world for quite some time. She has no memory of who she is. She has been working with the Kree military, going against their enemies called the Skrulls, which are these aliens that can shapeshift. They can shapeshift into anyone. So the Kree go after the Skrulls, and eventually the Skrulls escape to Earth in the 90s. This movie's set in the 90s. Beers, or Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, she follows the Skrulls to Earth. You've seen the trailer. She crashes into a blockbuster. That's your big sign that she's in the 90s. She meets up with Samuel L. Jackson's character, Colonel Nick Fury, and Clark Gregg's character, Agent Coulson. They are questioning her to find out why she's here in this green Kree uniform. She tells them about the Skrulls that may be on Earth pretending to be humans, trying to find them and take them back to the Kree world to be dealt with. And as she's on Earth, she finds out that she has a life here on Earth. She finds out that she did come from Earth, and she's finding out who she is. And that's pretty much our movie. Now, I am a fan of Brie Larson. I have liked her very much. I liked her in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I thought she did a pretty good job in that movie, even though it was a bit of a small role. I liked her a lot in Short Term 12. I thought that was a great movie. I liked her in Room, where she won an Oscar. I thought she did deserve that Oscar. And when I heard that she was cast for this role, I thought, oh wow, that's awesome! I mean, she wasn't the actress I was picturing for this role. I was picturing a couple of other actresses, like either Emily Blunt or Charlize Theron, but Charlize Theron is busy doing some stupid romantic comedy with Seth Rogen, and Emily Blunt probably was too busy with her husband doing the movie A Quiet Place at the time when this movie was being filmed. So that's one of the reasons why we got Brie Larson, and also because Brie Larson won the Oscar for Room. So that's why she got this role. I thought she did a very good job in this movie playing Carol Danvers. Is not as wooden as the trailers make you think she is. She actually does a pretty good job in the role. I like the way she played her character, being very sarcastic. I like the chemistry that Brie had with Samuel L. Jackson. They really worked very well off of each other. Jude Law, I thought, was really good in the movie as Jean Rogg. I thought he played a very good character in the film, and Ben Mendelsohn does show up in the movie. He was really good in the film. I don't want to say who plays, that's a bit of a spoiler. Annette Bening is great. She plays the Kree Supreme Intelligence. I thought she was really good in the film. Lashana Lynch plays Maria Rambeau, who is Carol Danvers' best friend in the movie from Earth. She's really good in the movie. And the little girl that plays Maria Rambeau's daughter, I did like her in the movie. I liked the Kree makeup. That was done very well. The fight scenes that were in this movie were very good. I like the fight scene in the train, the fight scene during the climax of the movie, the fight scene where she's trying to get away from the Skrulls. That was a very cool scene. So there are some very good fight scenes in this movie. Learning about her past and where her powers come from in regards to what this movie says, that was done very well. So I thought the movie was pretty good, and so good that I actually saw it 3 times. The first time I saw it with my dad and we both liked it. The second time I still liked it, and then the third time I still like it. Yes, it has its problems, but it's still a good movie, and there's a cat in the movie named Goose, which I thought was pretty good. The cat is named after Val Kilmer's character from Top Gun, which was pretty cool. In the comics, that same cat is named Chewie. They didn't want to go for a Star Wars reference, they wanted to go for a Top Gun reference, since Carol Danvers' character is a fighter pilot before she got her powers. They wanted to go for the Top Gun feel. That makes sense. Now, this movie's been getting a lot of controversy, which I don't really want to talk about in this review. I want to just focus on my thoughts about the movie. I think the controversy that's been surrounding Brie Larson about this movie is stupid. I think it's unfair for this movie to have so much controversy even before the movie came out, which was done. Can we just wait until the movie comes out before we just decide whether or not the movie is good or not? And I actually like this movie. I thought this was a very good movie. Is this one of the best Marvel movies, or is this one of the best Marvel origin stories? No, but it is a pretty good movie. And Brie Larson does a very good job in her role as Carol Danvers. And I did like how the Skrulls were done. I did like how the Kree were done. Let's get into the negatives with this movie, at least from my point of view. No, not one of the negatives is that this movie's boring. I did not find this movie boring. I know some people have said online that they find this movie boring. I didn't find this movie boring. The problems I have with this movie, first off, Clark Gregg's character Coulson, he doesn't do enough in this movie. I was hoping he was going to do some more. I was hoping he was going to get a good amount of screen time, and he really doesn't get that much screen time in this film. Samuel Jackson obviously gets more screen time than Clark Gregg does. And he's the character mostly that Brie Larson interacts with on Earth. Her, Nick Fury, and Maria Rambeau, more so than Clark Gregg. The reason why Nick Fury loses his eye, I have some mixed feelings about that. And I know there are some people online that hate the real truth behind that, which is kind of understandable. I don't hate it, but I do have some mixed feelings about it. I don't really like the fact that Ronan the Accuser shows up in this movie. His character is pretty much just a glorified cameo. I didn't understand why he was in this movie, really. Unless they're trying to set up for Captain Marvel 2. Maybe he's going to be one of the villains that she's going to go up against in that movie. Kind of weird, considering the fact if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, you know what happens in that movie, since he was the villain in that film. So it appears to me like a future Captain Marvel sequel, maybe. But I still like the movie a lot, and I do understand why not everybody else likes this movie as much as I do. But in regards to the direction that this movie has, I think this movie needs different people behind the camera because of the shaky cam that this movie had, and the held back in some of the scenes. Not entirely wooden, but there were some times when she felt wooden, but I felt like it was more because of the Kree training she was getting. I think we need different directors for her sequel. Perhaps somebody like Catherine Bigelow, or something that's Catherine Bigelow-like, because DC had Patty Jenkins directing Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, who gave a great performance as the character, even though I don't totally like the fact that she's playing Wonder Woman for some reasons that I don't want to say right now. I thought she did a good job with her performance as the character. And since Marvel burned the bridge with Patty Jenkins when she was supposed to direct Thor 2, brilliant job there. They should get somebody that is equal to Patty Jenkins to direct Captain Marvel, like Catherine Bigelow or somebody like her. But I do think people should check this movie out and give this movie a chance. And since this movie does connect to the next movie, which is Avengers Endgame, and there are two after credits scenes. The first one is the main one that is most important. The second one is mostly a joke, but it's still kind of important. And that's pretty much my review. I'm going to give this movie a B. And to all these people out there that hated the Captain Marvel movie, I say, if in the sequel when Captain Marvel meets Rogue, you guys can all cheer. Because Rogue's gonna suck Captain Marvel's powers if they meet. At least that's what happens in the comics. Definitely check out Captain Marvel. you.